So if you are most comfortable seated, then establish your seat with cushion, warmth, space away from your screen. If you'd prefer to lay down, go ahead and do that. And everything, like I said, can be done without props, but if you have a blanket or even a towel, I think that would be a good thing to have on hand. Okay. Welcome to your practice. As the wonderful Uma Dinsmore Thule says at the start of all her practices, welcome home to yourself. Welcome home. I'm going to read a short passage from The Wild Edge of Sorrow by Francis Weller. To befriend the darkness. Entering the night world brings us into the territory of darkness. Here, we move among shadows and whispers. Sometimes we can barely see where we are. We reach out our hands, hoping to find something solid. When we find ourselves in the night world, the sensation can be unsettling and frightening. The certainty of daylight has vanished, and we are invited to step into the unknown and undefined dimensions of our life. Grief takes us into a terrain where we must develop other senses, other ways of knowing. We must learn to see in the dark. If it feels safe enough for you to close your eyes, maybe you already have closed them. Just tune into that aspect of darkness, the visual darkness. And see if you can also cultivate awareness or sensitivity to the fact of solid ground underneath your body. Most immediately felt is the floor or cushion even. Let's see if you can extend your awareness to the fact of earth underneath you. Sensing that unconditional support and how your body may soften or stiffen in relationship to that. With this information, cultivate a breath that supports you in this moment. It might be very full, it might be very soft, it might be very rhythmic, it might be something else. Cultivate a breath that supports you in this moment in relationship to earth. That layer of unconditional support. As you exhale, just move a little bit deeper into a sense of emptiness in your body, a pause before drawing your next breath. And as your next inhale comes in, sense or see it as an opening across your chest, maybe even a flower opening is a potent image for you. On exhale, see if you can sense or see your body drawing up earth energy, up and through the perineum, the base of your body. Maybe you sense it in your belly, maybe you sense it even in your cervix. Pause for a moment in the emptiness between breaths. Sense or see the inhale as an opening, a softening in your chest. On exhale, sense or imagine drawing earth energy up and in to your belly. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you like. You're welcome to come back here to this practice at any time. We'll continue working with this image on the breath as long as it's relevant for you. If you feel ready, come onto your hands and your knees, continuing to breathe in a rhythm that supports you. Establish yourself with your hands about shoulders width apart, knees about hips width apart. Spread your fingers and dig your fingertips into the ground. And as you inhale, sense or visualize that opening, softening in the center of your chest. Maybe you gently tip your chin to the sky, shoulders draw together on the back. And then on exhale, draw earth energy up and in through the base of your body and come back to child's pose. Elbows on the floor, forehead on the floor if it touches comfortably. You might adjust where your hands are now. Inhale back up onto your hands and your knees. Soften across chest. Emphasize that more than a back bend if you're familiar with cow pose. Just feel that softness. Exhale, draw earth energy up and into your belly. Tone your belly and get to child's pose. See if you can sink a little deeper into the fold at your hips until you're totally empty. And sense the inhale draw you forward and up onto hands and knees. And you'll just move this way at the rhythm of your breath and body for about another 45 seconds, and I'll track that time. If you sense a desire for any side-to-side movement or spiraling or even a hum, invite awareness of that impulse, and also notice the difference between an impulse to not be here in this movement, in this sensitivity, versus an impulse to enhance what you're feeling. Just notice. And I'll demonstrate this next movement for you, just in case my words aren't clear enough. You're going to continue with this movement forward and back, but on your exhale, you're going to step out to the side and sit back, almost like a half squat with body folded forward. On your inhale, you'll come forward onto hands and knees, and with your exhale, change sides. Step out to the side, sit back. It should feel similar to a squat. Your head may not touch the floor with that added hip opener. So we're just moving more with that deeper sensation of belly tone. And again, we'll move for about 45 seconds here. You don't need to track the time. I'll track the time. This repetition of movement can enable the mind to lessen its need to figure out and attach and grab. Offer yourself as fully as feels safe to you the opportunity to just feel, sensing the stability of the breath focus as an anchor for your mind if it needs something to do. Even yourself out. So if you started on your right leg, finish up on your left leg. And you can either rest in child's pose or move into a downward facing dog. Your feet can be quite wide. You can keep your knees quite bent. Just feel the head hang toward earth. And see if you can maintain a relationship to that soft opening in the chest on the inhale. Drawing earth energy up through perineum, through cervix, if that resonates, into belly. Again, notice any impulse for movement here and give yourself the opportunity to discern the movement that takes you out of the present moment versus the movement that brings you deeper into the moment. And simply acknowledge what's happening. With an inhale, lower back onto hands and knees. And if your hands are out a little in front of your shoulders, move them back so hands are directly under shoulders. Bring your knees together so they're touching. And as you inhale, you're going to open your right knee to the side like that fire hydrant motion, and then circle your knee back behind you. Squeeze thighs towards each other, and then round your back. Bring your knee to your nose, your chin, just in that direction. And then inhale, look forward, fire hydrant, circle your knee around behind you, lift your chest, exhale, knee to nose or chin, round your back. You're circling your knee, think of drawing a circle with your knee and also moving your spine through cow-cat. To be clear, you want to feel this mostly in your glutes. And you may also have some awareness of another part of your body that is just sort of blank. Maybe it is your glutes. It's certainly my glutes right now. Seems like somebody took them off my body and threw them in the garbage can. Just move this way for another few breath cycles and then we'll switch sides. It might feel good to exhale with a little more force, opening your mouth, making a sound, getting really empty and pausing. That's an offering. And then after your knee comes in towards your chest, just rest it back down on the ground. You might wiggle, you might sway, you might rest in child's pose before we go to the other side. And then on hands and knees, grip the floor with your fingertips, knees together, open your left knee to the side. If there's any reason that this doesn't feel good, it might just be as simple as putting cushion under your knees, or if there's a limitation in body joint spaces, we're going to move into some glute work laying on our sides. So you could just pause for this moment. Go extra slow. The entirety of this process is about acknowledging what is and folding it in with love and curiosity and reverence as something sacred. And that's time. So bring your left knee to the floor. Again, wiggle, sway, child's pose. Sometimes I like to just kneel and be upright instead of head hanging down. That might resonate for you. And we're going to come to lay on our left side. So you can have your head resting in your left hand. Tilt this down a tiny bit if you need to see me. Bend your knees so that they're about the same level as your hips, just at a slight angle. We're moving into clamshells, so a little more kind of fitnessy move. But I invite you to bring one hand, your right hand, to your right hip and soften into the ground for a moment. So notice any amount of gripping and pulling up away from earth and kind of that unnecessary tension in the pelvis. Just drop the weight of your thigh bones, your pelvis into the ground. Then bring your right hand to your belly. Inhale slowly. And as you exhale, sense and even assist with your hand, just a gentle tone in your abdomen. If you can keep that without gripping in your tongue or your mouth, keep that. There'll be a little pulse because you're breathing, but try to keep tone in your abdomen. And then with each exhale, we're going to do 10. Squeeze your butt cheeks together in the back and lift your right knee as high as you can without rolling back. So no rolling off center. Just squeeze butt cheeks. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze and lift, and do 10 on your own count. Keep your feet touching, the inner edges of your feet touching. I apologize for not saying that before. And when you're finished with 10, you're going to roll onto your back. You don't need to move with my words. I'm just giving you a guide where we're going. When you're done with 10, roll onto your back, draw both knees into your chest. Gentle rock side to side. And if you'd like to, for about 3 breaths, so it's pretty quick, cross right ankle over left knee for a figure 4, Suchirandrasana. Make sure your right ankle is flexed. Yeah. And we'll get a little bit deeper into the hips in a moment. Roll onto your right side so we can work left leg. And we'll take our time easing into this side, even though we've been here before. The significance of acknowledging asymmetry in our body is not to be rushed through. And place your left hand on your left hip, taking a breath to honor the possibility of relaxing into that earth support. And then bring left hand to your abdomen. Find that breathable level of tone in your abdomen that you'll maintain in this shape. And then on your next exhale, squeeze your glutes as you lift your left knee toward the ceiling, keeping your feet together, inner edges of your feet touching. When you're done with 10, roll onto your back again. If you've lost count, no worries. Come onto your back, knees to chest. And you could just stay with knees to chest and rock gently side to side, or take 3 breaths with left ankle crossed over right knee. And so we'll start to move into just a little more heat building, but with that being said, we're bringing the sensitivity of breath that we've been cultivating. So come onto your hands and your knees. Walk your hands forward, just slightly out in front of your shoulders, so there's an angle there. Step your right foot forward outside your right hand. So you've got your arms inside your right leg. Tuck your left toes under and lift your left knee off the floor, wiggling toes back until you're in a lunge. And then look back at your left foot. Pivot your heel in and down like the back foot of a warrior 1 pose. If you're not sure what that is, just flatten your foot. Your toes will point out to the side slightly. And then push the ground with your hands. Pull your outer right hip back and up, keeping a slight bend in your right knee. So this is called a down dog lunge. Should feel a little like down dog, a little like a lunge. Let your head hang toward the earth. Keep your feet planted very firmly on the ground. You might even experiment with a slight pulling in towards each other with your feet, like you were trying to pull your feet into center. Lift your butt up and back. Bring your outer right hip back a little more. And then maybe walk your hands forward and on a diagonal slightly to get a little more space in your torso. If you can't feel a soft opening in your chest as you inhale and earth energy moving into belly as you exhale, back off until you can sense that in your body again. Back your hands up an inch or two, make your way to downward facing dog or hands and knees or child's pose. 3 breaths. And some of you might feel really comfortable from down dog, stepping your left foot forward and outside your left hand, or put your knees down first and then do that. So left foot outside left hand. Pivot your right heel in and down like the back foot of a warrior one pose. And then really subtly squeeze your feet towards each other. Like if you had slippy socks on a wood floor, they might actually draw in towards each other. Bring your outer left hip back and up. So if you notice your butt kind of swinging out to the side, draw it in towards center. Walk your hands forward slightly and on a diagonal, but not so much that you don't feel support from your arms. Your arms are still weight bearing in this pose. With your next exhale, as you draw earth up and in to your belly, let your head hang with a little more freedom. One more breath here. And then as you like, down dog, hands and knees, or child's pose. Notice what has opened, not just on a physical body level, but where you might feel tingling or movement or sensitivity. And fold that in to how you move forward. Fold that in to how you make choices in our practice moving forward. Whatever shape you're in now, make your way to laying on your back with your knees drawn into your chest. This might be a good place to have a towel or blanket underneath your head. If you have like a fairly thin pillow, that could work too. And if you don't have that, it's not going to get in the way of you doing this. Bring your hands to your abdomen and your feet gently to the floor, feet close to your hips, but hips with distance apart. Inhale and allow your chest to softly open. And on your exhale, draw earth up and in through your belly, perineum, cervix. Flatten your low back into the floor and almost sense your tailbone curling up away from the ground. See if you can hold this position as you breathe. You might rock a little bit in your pelvis. If it feels too compressed, then skip it. If you're able to hold that curve in your lower back and belly, gently lift your feet off the floor, knees over hips. Feet can just hang. You don't need to do a 90-degree angle with your legs. And you can either keep your feet off the floor and on your breath 10 times, just alternately tap your toes or your heels against the floor, keeping the curve in your low spine. You can also put your feet on the floor, keep the curve in your low spine, and lift your knees one at a time, alternating for 10 rounds. Keeping your feet on the floor to start is going to be a bit gentler on the abs and low back. As much as you can, keep the effort out of your throat, your face, your chest. Keep your breath moving. If you've lost count, no worries, just even it out. If you started on your right leg, finish up with the left leg. Draw your knees into your chest. Give your spine a little sway, gently rock side to side, and you can stay here or plant your feet on the ground again, hips width distance apart, heels close to your hips. On an inhale, gently stretch your arms up alongside your head and lift your pelvis for a bridge pose. So arms go all the way back to the ground, biceps in line with ears, and lift your hips for bridge. Lift your hips only as much as feels stable. Press your shoulders and the back of your head, not your neck, but the back of your head into the ground. Press your feet evenly down into the ground. Inhale, a softening across the center of your chest. Exhale, draw earth up and in through perineum, through cervix into your belly. 1 or 2 more breaths here in bridge, and with an exhale, lower down. If it feels playful and accessible, you can draw your knees into your chest and rock forward and back a couple of times, making your way to standing. More gently, you could roll over to one side and slowly come up to a standing position. I'll just be on my knees. So you'll stand in mountain pose today with feet together or as close as they'll go. Engage your quadriceps. Engage your low abdomen, soften your chest and your shoulders. And take your arms out to the side to a T position. And you can either bend your elbows and bring forearms together like this. So just forearms touching, fingers pointing up at the ceiling, or come into eagle arms with your right elbow underneath. Wrap your arms, press your palms together, or the backs of your hands together. Draw your elbows down toward your chest, lift your chest up toward your elbows. Draw your low belly in. Inhale here, and as you exhale, lean gently to your right. Send your hips to the left. And feel for coherence, continuity between the anchor of your feet against the ground, the support of your quadriceps and your low abdomen, and the lift and lean of your upper torso. So as much lift and lean as there is strength and support underneath. One more breath here. Good. Inhale up to center, open your arms wide, and then just let them swing a few times. They might go back and forward, they might go up and down. And then find your arm shape for the second side. It could be elbows bent and forearms pressed like a prayer, or swoop your left elbow underneath your right and press palms or backs of hands together. Stabilize in your legs. Draw your abdomen back, lower ribs back. Lift your chest, draw your elbows down to your chest. And with a soft throat, lean to your left in your torso. Send your pelvis over to the right slightly. And then just as we've been balancing, soft open inhale with a grounded exhale. Find your balance between the support and stability in your legs and the lift, lean, release in your upper torso. One more breath here. And then inhale up, release your arms and let them swing in a way that feels good. Bring your hands onto your hips and give yourself room to step back into a lunge. Don't step back just in this moment, but make sure you have space behind you to step a leg back. And if your knees are tender on the floor, you might take your blanket now and place it so it will be underneath your knee. It's always nice to have some extra cushion and softness. Hands on hips. Draw your shoulders up and slightly back. Elbows can wing back slightly. Bring your front ribs down and in so you can sense the support of your pelvis and your legs in your upper body. And then shift your weight into your left leg and step your right foot back into a lunge, lowering your knee to the floor. Your right foot can stay with toes tucked under, or you can lay the top of your right foot flat on the ground. Inhale and allow for this kind of softening in your chest as you bring your pelvis closer to the ground, ever so slightly, just sort of giving into gravity. And then as you exhale, isometrically draw your feet towards one another and lift up out of the lunge ever so slightly, bringing earth up and into your center. And now you're just going to do this for a few more breaths. There might be a visible or visceral moving in your lunge down and up. It might start to disappear, that movement, outward movement. Just feel for the possibility of a softening towards earth as you inhale, and then deliberately drawing in and up through your belly as you exhale. And if any part of you feels overstretched, strained here in this shape, bring your hands down to the floor inside your left foot. If you've recently had a baby, which I know some of you in this group have, emphasize the exhale. Emphasize the earth energy up and in, and less so the stretching and surrendering to the ground. You've done that in spades. The stretching and surrendering has happened. Okay. If you have your hands up on your hips, please bring them down to the ground inside your left foot. Make your way to hands and knees. Grip the floor with your fingertips to help take some pressure off of your hands. On exhale, round your spine into a strong cat stretch. Let your head hang. You might even blow a little breath out your mouth. Really draw up and in through your belly, through pelvic floor. Good. And then bring your hands up onto your hips. Come up to standing from here, and we'll go into the other side the same way we did the first side. Come to the top of your space if you have a mat marking that, or just give yourself room behind you. Hands on hips, draw your shoulders up and back slightly, elbows wing back slightly, but draw your abdomen back to stabilize your weight over your legs. And now step your left foot back into a lunge, lowering your knee gently to the floor. And you can keep your toes tucked under or lay the top of your left foot and shin on your mat. Inhale and allow just a slight softening forward and down in your pelvis. On exhale, do pull out of it a bit, isometrically drawing your front foot and your back knee towards each other, lifting up through abdomen. And then this rocking, outward rocking, may disappear as you tune into the more subtle movement in your abdomen. You might really like that movement, so stay with it. But if you are feeling overstretched emotionally or physically, bring your hands down to the ground inside your right foot. If your hands are still up on your hips, please bring them down to the ground. Make your way to hands and knees. Grip the floor with your fingertips. Inhale, soften across the center of your chest. Exhale into a strong cat stretch. Press your vertebrae up towards the ceiling. Soften your throat as much as you can. Hold that shape. Hold your rounded cat spine as you take another breath in. And then maybe blow out your mouth, deepen into your cat stretch, draw up and in through your belly and pelvic floor. And then if it works for your body, for your joints, come to a kneeling position. That could be sitting your butt in between your ankles. It could be sitting on your ankles. I almost always like to have a blanket under my butt, whether that's over your calves or on the floor if you're doing the Virasana variation, which is feet apart. Give yourself support. And if neither of those options works for you, you can either stand or sit in staff pose with your legs straight out in front of you. Interlace your fingers together and rest your palms on the top of your head. Give full weight to your arms, so your hands want to be right on the crown of your head. Relax your shoulders. It might feel like your hands are even kind of pulling apart if you really give full weight. Soften your eyes, gaze down or close them. Inhale some softness in the center of your rib space. And on exhale, draw gently in and up from perineum, cervix into belly, and up through your head into your hands. Almost like the head is pressing back up into your hands. And we'll be here for 3 more breaths. If eyes are closed and that's comfortable, see if you can keep that as you release your hands into your lap. And simply witness in this moment, just bear witness your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body. Any holding wisdom around those bodies. You may feel comfortable and even held by keeping your eyes closed a little longer. You certainly don't have to, especially if it helps you navigate your space to open them. Slowly come onto your back, either with knees drawn to chest or feet gently on the floor with bent knees. Please interlace your hands around the back of your right thigh. And either keep your left foot on the floor with a bent knee or slide your left leg out straight. If your left leg doesn't get completely straight, that's not a problem. Just keep it strong. Engage your left quadriceps and flex your ankle. You may begin to extend your right foot heel really toward the ceiling. And again, no need to force your legs straight. That's not better than, but keep your legs strong. Engage your right quadriceps. Inhale a softness into the center of your chest, which may change your shape. And as you exhale, keep your legs as they are, but hug your outer hips towards each other. Draw your low abdomen toward the earth. Soften through the center of your chest as you inhale. Exhale, hug your outer hips towards each other, belly to earth. Bring a little more spread and stretch to your toes on each foot. And then bend your right knee a lot. Hold on to your outer right foot, your right elbow inside your right knee, and keep your right foot very flexed. Bend your left leg if it's straight. And you're going to let your weight roll to the right until your right knee is touching the floor. With your left knee bent, push the floor with your left foot, so you're sort of enhancing the twist to the right. And some of you may grab the top of your left foot and bring it into a quad stretch. Bring your left leg into a quad stretch. If you don't know what I just said, don't worry about it and don't force more movement. You may If there's a feeling of expansion in your presence in this moment by doing it, extend your right leg towards straight, but keep your quadriceps on. Keep your exhale deliberate and clear as a grounding energy. This is our second to last shape, so keep that in mind. If you find a lot of effort or kind of agitation here, we're moving towards Shavasana, so back off to the point where you feel a real groundedness, or at the very least, some quieting of your energy body. Draw your body back to center. Determine for yourself, is it better to have both legs straight and stretched out, knees to chest, or you could even shake your legs wildly around up toward the ceiling. I like that feeling of kind of shaking the muscle tissue around. And then we'll move to the left side. Please interlace your hands around the back of your left thigh. Slide your right leg down onto the ground, keeping the muscles very strong, or just keep the right leg bent, foot flat on the mat. Extend your left leg as much as you can while keeping it strong and your breath clear. Flex your left ankle a lot. Inhale a softness into your chest. Exhale, hug your outer hips towards each other, belly to earth. We'll do that 3 more times. And then you'll bend your left knee and hold on to the outside edge of your foot with your left hand, keeping your left elbow inside the knee. Bend your right knee and plant your foot on the floor close to your right hip. Let your weight rock to the left. So your left knee touches the floor. Your left knee is still bent. Please keep your left knee bent to start. And then establish that twist in your hips, maybe a gentle quad stretch across the right leg. And when you have that, then maybe begin to extend your left leg towards straight, but really strong. You don't want to feel like you're flopping into this shape. If it would be very difficult to come out of this shape, you might consider backing off a bit and engaging more through your exhale. One of the grief points and gifts is very relevant and present in my life right now is my body does not have access to the things that it used to before having children. Shapes, movement, endurance, pleasure. It's like a whole new territory, a whole new terrain, and I don't know anybody there. It is also a tremendous gift because of the presence that it demands. And I just wonder, is there anything similar for you? We might start to rearrange our relationship to that pain point. Slowly make your way back to center. Either stretch your legs out on the floor, shake them toward the ceiling, hug your knees to your chest. And then if you have wall space that you would like to use for a legs up the wall resting position, take the time to do that. I see some of you with chairs and sofas, and that could be a really nice place to just swing your lower legs over for rest. Or pull your blanket up over your legs and rest in Shavasana. If there's something you would like to do before Shavasana, if you are laying flat on your mat, like knees to chest, or simply extending your legs up toward the ceiling for 3 to 5 breaths. Do that. Tune in for a few moments consciously to the fact of earth support under your body. Allow your head to become really present to the unconditional support of earth underneath it. Attune your shoulders to the fact of unconditional support. Your ribs. Your breath. Your pelvis. And your legs. Begin to draw yourself back in to presence here and now. Breathing deeply into the gravitational pull on your body, allowing your skin to stretch and soften even more. Exhale, maybe flexing ankles or drawing knees to chest if your legs have been extended. Allow your body to participate through soft and simple movement in the pulse of your breath, deepening. Inhale, expand. Exhale, draw to center. Allow the movement of your breath to bring you to a comfortable seat Or if you prefer to rest on your side for another minute, you're welcome to. Find a soft resting place for your eyes, whether your eyelids are closed or partially closed. Reading again from The Wild Edge of Sorrow. Learning to befriend the darkness offers us a holding space where we are able to do the necessary work of metabolizing sorrow. This underworld domain is the sanctuary of our initiatory ordeal, in which we are reshaped and remade under the hands of grief. It is the place where our apprenticeship with sorrow and our ability to be truly alive is deepened. It is the dream time offering images that quicken our souls and cause us to catch our breath. I love this drawing of our attention to the possibility of apprenticeship. We're in an apprenticeship learning how to be human, fully alive. And the power of images to deepen our relationship to those mythic places, those ancestral places and connections. So I invite you to draw your hands together in a gesture of reverence. It might be hands folded in prayer. It might be hands resting on your body or something different. And if you feel moved to do so, sounding Om one time together. This could be a hum inside your heart. It could be vocally expressed outside of your body. Exhale completely. Inhale. Oh. And as you allow the vibration of Om, which can be considered a kind of neutralizing sound, allow those vibrations to settle in your body. With eyes still closed or softly cast toward the floor or your lap, just tune in where there is what you might call darkness or sorrow or even grief in your body without attaching a name to it or a story to it. Just tune into how it lives in your body in this moment. There may be a readily available image, and you can move toward your page, your canvas, whatever you have brought with you today, to translate that image down. It might be a sound or a shape that's really present for you. You might see how you can translate that to the page. Allow yourself freedom to explore and experiment for about the next 10 or 12 minutes. You can keep your camera on or not. I'm going to have some music on, and if you don't like the music, you can mute it. We'll come back together again in about 10 or 12 minutes. If you need more time, you can continue your image making after our time together. Could someone who still has their camera on give me a thumbs up if you can hear the music? Louder, less volume? What do you think? It's, hold on. Now it's good.
Om Radha Krishnaya Namaha.
Okay.
Om Radha Krishnaya Namaha. 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 Radha Krishnaya Namaha. Om 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 Radha Krishnaya Namaha. Radha Krishnaya Namaha. Om 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 Radha Krishnaya Namaha.
What good, bad, she, who, who, Purnamida, Purnamida, Purnapanurmadurchate, Purnasya, Purnamadari, Purnamida, Shishati, who look at Samasta Suginu Bhavat Loka Samasta Suginu Bhavat Loka Samasta Suginu Bhavat. Oh.
So go about 1 more minute.
Om.
If you have your camera on, you can give me a gesture. Just put the number. Is 1 minute or 2 minutes better? 2. Okay, so if you're done after 1, you can give your image a title, maybe, or just move your body if you can fit. We'll go for 2 more minutes as a group.
Shanti. Sitaram, Sitaram, yes. Sitaram, 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 yes. Sitaram, 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 yes. Sitaram, 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 yes. Sitaram, 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 yes. Sitaram,
We start to come to the end of your image making process, and it can be really powerful to give your image a title. And as an option for deepening your relationship to this image, just invite you to gaze upon it, almost, kind of give yourself that separation. You might set it up on a table, or as though you were happening upon this image on a wall. And engage the feeling. Notice what it evokes from you, even though it came from you. And last offering, if you would like to write this down, you can. Just allowing the image again to evoke a response from you. Filling in the blank, my body, my heart, my mind. Just fill in the blank after those words. My body, my heart, my mind. I'll put it in the chat. And then before we move into sharing, which is of course your choice, if you wish to, just like to bring this class to a close with a moment of gratitude. And you may wish to close your eyes or place hands on body or shift your gaze to something other than your screen. I would like to offer gratitude in this moment for the beings who birthed the practices of yoga and Ayurveda, which have been deeply healing for me. This incredibly rich culture that birthed these practices, but is not my indigenous culture. And all of the teachers who have brought this healing into my life, I hold their image, their names in my heart in this moment. I invite you to do the same. Those beings who have brought healing to your heart, who have enabled your life to be full. And then one more moment of extending gratitude to each other for being a part of this container. I thank each of you for your participation, full presence, the gift of your heart this morning.